What's up, everybody? It's a rainy day and we're down in the shop practicing some basic heat strip wiring. First thing we're going to do is make sure we're safe by verifying there's no voltage. And we're good. What we're working with today is a Trane unit that was donated to me, and I use it for practicing on wiring different things. What I like to do first is identify some of the parts there. We've got our line voltage coming in through a breaker. It's pretty typical. We've got our heat strips are going to be these two plugins right here, and each one of these is going to get 120 volts and 120 volts to make the 240 volts to complete the circuit. This, when I first saw it, threw me, and what this is right here is it's called a fusible link, which I'll zoom in on here in a little bit. We've got a limit switch and we've got our contactor. Pretty simple setup. All right, so here we are inside the unit. This is the back side of everything we just talked about earlier. We've got our limit switch, we've got our heat strips, and here is that fusible link that I was talking about. And this fusible link is like a safety device. If it gets overheated in here, this fuse will actually melt and break the circuit, so the heat strips will shut off. This can actually be replaced. One of the first things I like to do is run my 24-volt control wires. In this instance, I'm gonna start with the 24-volt common wires. On this particular Trane unit, they have broke the common wire, or break the common wire with the limit switch. Normally this would be blue, but in this particular unit they ran from blue, and in the Molex plug it went to a white wire, so I identified it with a piece of blue tape. After leaving the limit switch though, I went ahead and used a blue wire. After leaving the 24-volt control wire common limit switch, we attach the common wire to the contactor coil, and we also will connect our 24-volt control wire, which would be typically the white wire, to the thermostat or control board. Now we can begin to connect our line voltage, which in total will be 240 volts to power these heat strips, 120 volts from each leg. Our 120 volt common is already connected. I leave that connected because it's getting kind of wiggly in this old unit and I don't want to end up breaking anything. The other 120 volts will be on this red wire coming from this side of the breaker and will be connected to the contactor. On one side, 120 volts will travel through this contactor. Once 24 volts is supplied, pulling the plunger down, we'll carry on through this wire to the other side of the heat strips, making a complete circuit. Once we have everything wired, give everything a quick visual check. Then we can apply power. Check for 240 volts. We have our 240 volts, and we can power up the system. I'm using a Jumper King instead of a thermostat. You see that the contactor pulled in once I gave it the W heat call. What I like to do is check amperage on the common 120 line. You can see we've got 20 amps going to our heat strip.